lesson now. I learned the lesson that what protects a person is the Torah and the mitzvot. So please, officers, let me go. Let me give my friend a burial, and let me try to do mitzvot in his memory. And then, hopefully, his death would not be in vain. He returned back home, and when he came home, his wife saw him putting on talit and tefillin, and she said, "Mark, the rabbi's blessing really helped." And he says, "You don't even know how much it helped. But I realize that it's mitzvot which keep me alive, which save my life. And from now on, that's how I'm going to live. Because that's living. Living is Torah and mitzvot." A true story, how teshuvah saved someone's life instead of dying like his dead parents who didn't keep the Torah and mitzvot. Now remember that story. It was no coincidence that he was saved by Havdalah Candle's light attracting the attention of the passerbys, because the Havdalah Candle has a very significant meaning. Its symbolism is that just like this Havdalah Candle separated between Shabbat and the weekday, a holy day and a regular day, an ordinary day of the weekday, so too a person in life has to always remember, separate yourself, that you shouldn't be with the ordinary and regular chol of your days, but rather make your days of kedusha, days of holiness, which can be done through Torah and mitzvot, as opposed to just having an ordinary day of just playing and eating and sleeping and running around. So too a person must always remember that if we keep a separation, we separate between the kodesh and the chol, that we don't just mix with the goyim and the chol like regular, but we add holiness, kedusha, into our days, then that brings Yeshua, that brings safety and blessing to everybody, as it saves them from problems. As we see the Havdalah Candle helped save his life. And when we separate from Kodesh to Chol, we separate from the Chol, the nonsense of life, and we put the Kedusha, the holiness into it, that's what really brings the Yeshua and all the blessings that come with it to our lives, B'ezrat Hashem. The next story is about two brothers, Shimon and Asher, who lived so far away from each other that they practically forgot about each other. In Galut, so many times, even families are torn apart. They don't get to keep in touch with each other. Once in a while, they send a telegram if there's news for a simcha, or chas v'sholom, there's bad news. But Shimon and Asher, as they lived on different continents, thousands of miles from each other, their mazal, their fortunes in life, their fates were so different. Shimon was blessed with many children, and Asher, he was blessed with a few children. Shimon was very poor. Asher was very rich. Shimon was a woodcutter. He chopped wood. How much money can you sell wood for? Sometimes it rains, and there's no wood to even cut, or to be found, or to be sold. Sometimes it's snowy. How do you drag wood through the snow? And Asher, he was very comfortable. He used to build houses. He built mansions. Each house would bring him lots of money. But they lived so far away that they practically didn't even feel like a family anymore. Shimon, though he was so poor, he was rich, that his children loved Torah. That is probably the greatest wealth a person can have. If someone has money but he doesn't love mitzvot, he is very poor. He is a beggar. He is a sad person. Somebody who's poor, doesn't have much money, but he has a love for mitzvot, he's very rich, he's wealthy, he's loaded. Because money only lasts for about 50 years. Maybe. And mitzvot last for trillions and trillions of years, on and on, forever and ever. L'netzach nitzachim. One day, Shimon was walking out of his house, looking at his children. He smiled. And he said, "Boy, I'm so proud of you. All of you learned already so many misachtot, mishnayot. But you know what, children? I'm getting older, and I have to go chop wood, and I really need a helper. Who wants to be my assistant? To come chop the wood in the forest." The sons, they said, "Abba, we'll help you, but don't you always say we should learn Torah? Because that's the greatest mitzvah." And he said, "Yes, my dear children, you make me so proud. And truthfully, you're right. Learning Torah is greater than even cutting wood for the Mizbeach of the Beit HaMikdash. The day they stopped cutting wood for the Mizbeach on Tu B'Av, the 15th of Av, it was cause of celebration. Because now they were done cutting wood for the Ma'aracha, for the fires of the Mizbeach. And now they could learn Torah. And that's why they were happy. They were happy because they completed the mitzvah of chopping wood for the Mizbeach. There was 9 families that used to supply wood for the Mizbeach. And they were happy that they were finished by Tu B'Av. Tu B'Av, they stopped cutting the wood, and that was the day they were happy because now we can go back and learn. Because learning is greater than any other mitzvah. And he said, "Children, but I'm getting older and I feel weak and I could use help if one of the sons comes to lug the wood through the woods for me." The oldest one, also the chubbiest one, he wasn't too chubby. It was a poor family. They didn't have much. But he looked like he had a little bit more muscles than his thin, skinny, bony brothers. He said, "Abba, I'll go and we can learn on the way." He said, "Son, I hope this is not for a long time. I don't want to be punished for taking you out of the Beit Midrash. You're never supposed to be mevatel Torah of children because that's the most precious Torah in the world." It says even if the Beit Midrash was being built and they needed help and they sent a message, "Here, go to that school and get all the people," the halakha is you don't take the children to help. Because the children's Torah study is more precious to Hashem than the Beit HaMikdash itself. Because they have no sin yet. They're katanim, they don't have that, they don't know any better. It's not their fault when they sin, really. So, the words, the breath they speak Torah is so precious to Hashem that it's even more precious than the Beit HaMikdash. So he said to his son, "I hope I'm not punished. I hope we're not punished for taking you outside from the Beit Midrash, but I really need your help, my son." He said, "Abba, don't worry. After a day in the woods, I'll come back and learn at night." But he said, "Still, son, I feel bad if you have to be mevatel Torah during the day, but trust me, my son, Yechezkel, I wouldn't take you unless I needed you." And with that, Yechezkel turns to his brothers, and he looked at his younger brothers, and he said, "Okay, guys, I'll test you when I come back on what you know." And they smiled, because they were always so proud to show up the Torah they knew. Every time they finished a Mishnah, they felt simcha, they felt happiness. Every time they finished a parak or a Masechta, they felt Gila, Rina, Ditza, V'chedva, tremendous joy and ecstasy. They were really happy children. You would think, why are they happy? They're a poor family. The answer is because they knew what real currency is, what the real value of life is. Money without mitzvot is literally nothing. Everyone knows, everyone says Tehillim, Tov li Torah picha me'alfi zav v'chesef, how Torah is more precious than all the silver and gold. Even if Yossi bar ben Kisma, was a rabbi who once was offered a position in a very modern city with lots of money. They said, "Rabbi, we'll give you a mansion, we'll give you pearls, diamonds, rubies, jewels, gold, silver, just come be our rabbi." And he said, "No way. I live in a kollel in a city filled with Torah, yeshivot, and institutes. I'm not going to go over there." And they said, "No, Rabbi, we're asking you to come teach us Torah over here." And he said, "No. A place filled with money, everyone's running after money. I don't know how much they're going to listen to Torah. I like a place that everyone realizes what's important. A place like Lakewood, a place like Tells, where everyone's running to learn Torah. For them, that's the value of life, and not just petty cash." And it turns out, Yechezkel went with his father, and day in, day out, they were out chopping wood, till suddenly it started to rain. It was starting to rain, And as it was raining, they realized they can't chop wood in the rain. They tried to wait for the rain to stop, but as much as they hoped, the weather was bad. That meant hard times for our Shimon, because now, how would he have money to support his family? They didn't have a savings account with lots of money saved up. The money they had, they would use that week. They would spend the money they made as fast as they made it, maybe even faster, to buy food, to buy clothing. And now he wondered, should I have to borrow from my friends? I don't want to borrow. I don't want to bother people. Everyone needs money themselves. He wasn't sure what to do. So Baruch Hashem, the rain stopped. He went out with his son Yechezkel and said, Yechezkel, there's literally no bread left in the bread box at home. What's left is hard, and I feel bad giving the kids hard bread. It's not like they have any gravy or anything tasty to really put on the hard bread. So you know what, Yechezkel, let's wake up early. We'll go in the woods. And Yechezkel said, but Abba, aren't you fasting? He said, son, I'm not fasting. He said, Abba, I saw yesterday you didn't eat it all day. That must mean you're fasting. He said, no, I'm not fasting. It's just I don't have any money. I don't have any bread. He said, Abba, I feel so bad. Let's go. We'll get lots of wood and I'll go to the market. I won't come home until I sell it all. I'll make sure I'll knock on the doors and tell people to get wood. And I'll give them a good deal. Yechezkel's father, Shimon, was so happy that he was a determined son. A son who had charitzut. Charitzut is the will to do something and do it good. And he said, good, my son, maybe we'll get some food and we'll have even something extra for Shabbat. And right then, as they went in the wood, they were chopping and chopping, but Shimon didn't realize that his body was very weak. It didn't eat yesterday, it didn't drink. There was no energy. Food, the Baruch Shalom makes a miracle that every time we eat food, the food turns into energy. You eat potato chips and you get strong. Imagine I put potato chips in my car and it gave it energy to run. Imagine I put carrots in the airplane and I made it run. That's the miracle that happens when we eat food. We eat chips, we eat carrots, and all of a sudden we're full of energy. We got fuel. So what happened? His son was anxious to help his father, but he saw that his father was slowing down. The son was in charge of piling up the wood and tying it to take to the town. But his father was like chopping very slow. So he said, Abba, should I chop? And his father said, no, I don't let you handle the axe. You're too young. It's dangerous. You know how many times people killed people by accident with axes? Torah even says how people used to have to go to the air miklat. When they were chopping wood, sometimes the axe would kill people by accident and they would have to go to the refuge cities, the safety, security cities called the air miklat. He told his son, no, I'll do it. But he was so weak that as he was chopping, there was one time he chopped. And his son was worried because you have to be very alert. You can't be tired or weak when you cut wood. What if Chas Hashem, you're not paying attention and instead of the wood, the tree falling in the other direction, it falls in your direction? Chas Hashem, that can crush a person. He was watching and he was going to tell his father, Abba, that's it. But before he even got a chance to tell him, the father collapsed. Abba! His father collapsed. Baruch Hashem, he wasn't, he didn't have a tree fall on him, but he was laying there in the wood, boards, there was a few sawdust all over him, splinters, wood, little bits, cuts of wood, chops. Abba, wake up, oh my gosh. Abba. He looks around and he sees that they had a little bucket of water that they use sometimes for the blade itself, to clean the knife. He poured the water on his father. His father looked up. His father could barely move. He had no energy. He hadn't eaten. And now, he looked at his son. He said, son, I just help me up. We'll go home. And as he looked at him, he felt so bad. He saw his father there with tears in his eyes. And he said, Abba, But let me travel to your brother.